Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Barlow Zone, home of the one and only Demon Hunter King Kaido, sent to StarFleet himself. And yes, we are back. I'm gonna be honest with you guys because after I'm sure I got like 70 views on the first Starfleet Academy video at this point, right? And I gotta say, to the individuals who commented, I forgot to write down your name while I was doing the script, but I am gonna throw up a screenshot. I love you guys so much. I, I you know what? Okay, that is very e-girl aesthetic right there. I don't love you guys. I appreciate the ever loving hell out of you guys, right? I'm not trying to create a parasocial dynamic here. I enjoy talking about stuff I like, right? And that much interaction that fast, that's the best my channel has gotten so far. So, man, I felt it, and I want you guys to know I'm trying my best to send it back. And in doing so, I have to eat the words I said at the end of that video. I am going to be doing videos about Starfleet Academy. I am going to allow myself to fall into the toxic for me rabbit hole that is Star Trek, because every time I've fallen in love with something pertaining to Star Trek, it has consumed me. Like this series, y'all, like I said it in my first video, Star Trek is my first love when it comes to nerd culture. I believe One Piece is my true love. As much as I love characters from various anime and show, no story has connected with me as deeply and as personally as One Piece. But for as much as that is true, Star Trek is what started me on my love for everything nerd culture. It's the reason I began to watch Dragon Ball Z, Cowboy Bebop, Inuyasha, and Bleach back in the day on Toonami. It's the reason I risked getting in trouble to get up at midnight after I was sure my dad was snoring, turn the TV down to 1 and sit 2 inches from that mother trucker so I could watch that stuff. It's all because of Star Trek. And you know what? I love this series. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to get into more. That is the point of this video. Today we are going to be diving into my thoughts on episodes 2 through 6, mostly. More on that later. One segment is going to be extremely brief, but we'll get into that when we get there. So obviously I've already covered episode 1. I believe I probably already did the table of contents, so you guys will have timestamps. I'm sorry, I still haven't figured out how to make those clickable for you guys. As I've mentioned, I'm still working on my editing skills, trying to get better. I'm hoping to get to that point someday, right? I'm still tinkering and, working with my app. But, tangent aside, making sure I give myself time to do a proper table of contents for y'all. Episode 2 beta test. I want to start out by pointing out, after I watched, what was it, episodes 2, 3, and 4? Yes, 2, 3, and 4. I wasn't able to watch episode 5 that night. I posted my initial reaction to episode 1, right? The Sandman came, the eyelids got too heavy. I couldn't pay attention long enough to watch the 5th episode. What I just did that the following day. After watching up to that point, though, I made a post on Tumblr and I called out Tarima, right? Because I've read a lot of manga, I've watched a lot of anime. There's a part of me inside that's always looking for the traitor, especially because of One Piece, right? So, after episode 2, and especially episode 3, we were introduced to the Betazoids, right? Episode 2 being called Beta Test. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. This entire episode is surrounding the potential that Beta Z rejoins Starfleet after the burn. And, for various reasons, mostly being my unstoppable innate to critically analyze the things I love, right? My initial reaction was that this girl's sus. That this is the one trying to manipulate things. She is the one who used Caleb because she had some plan to bring divine retribution down on StarFleet for abandoning her people after the burn. I'm going to save a follow-up on that till we get to that point later on, because also in episode 2, we got our proper introduction to the War College, right? Our initial interactions with Bavir, Zolo, and Kyle. Goddamn Kyle. God, I love that kid. Like, moving on, trying to stay on point with episode 2. The fact that Starfleet Academy acquiesced and agreed to build their new headquarters on Beta Z was another factor in why I wasn't trusting Tareema initially, right? And I should be clear, not at any point did I harbor any suspicion for Occam. Like, he was a lovable goofball. Like, Occam doesn't have a bad bone in his body, and I fully believe that's why him and Sam are being framed together. We'll get more into Sam later, obviously. I'm gonna leave off the episode 2 segment with Can Tareema be trusted? Now, I know I said we're gonna get into more of that later, but there's still a part of me, that anime manga fan that has seen far too many of my favorite characters get stabbed in the back by somebody they chose to trust. There's still that part of me back there that's wondering. But it's just a part. We're going to move along into episode 3 now. As I said, I have a follow-up to the Tareema part later on. And episode 3 largely is focused around the... Sorry, I didn't want to cough in your guys' ears. Episode 3, Vitus Reflux, largely focused around the intra-school, intra-student relationship between Starfleet Academy and the War College. We get our introduction to the game of Calica, the organized sport of the academies. Absolutely genius and epic prank war. Like, dude, this is one for the ages. I'm gonna be honest. I thought Genesis went too far when she first said, I amped up the growth because what she gave us wasn't quite suited for what we need to do. I got a little worried. These gonna be some big plans. I hope nobody gets eaten. But man, seeing the results, chef's kiss. I can't think of a better on-screen prank. Just off the top, I really can't. But for the most part, as I said, episode 3 is largely just the reminder, I guess, right? That this is a teen dramedy. I do have to admit that. This is a show aimed at bringing in a new generation into the fandom that is Trekkies. And on that note, real quick, I mentioned it in a conversation on Tumblr. By the way, I love the communities for One Piece and Star Trek on Tumblr are absolutely beautiful. I love them both. I have legendary conversation after legendary conversation with y'all. And if any of you guys are ever watching my videos, I'd like to know if you are okay with me sharing your screen name when I bring up conversations. At the moment, I do, for the most part, try to avoid screenshots from my Tumblr stuff just because it's so large. It's so non-visual, like you're on Tumblr instead of YouTube, for example, or Twitch or something, or TikTok, because you don't want, assumedly, you don't want anything about who you are physically to affect how people interact with your ideas, your art, your stories. So in the attempt to respect that for them, I try not to grab screenshots from Tumblr. That being said, I have in the past, I've had conversations with those creators on the platform to make sure they were okay with it first. But I've been having so many conversations. I can't afford the time to DM everybody personally and make sure you're okay with it, or make sure or understand how you feel about your content being presented on my channel. So if you happen to be around, you're watching one of my videos and you feel like, hey, you know what, Barlow, if you would have added in a screenshot of what we were talking about, it could have made this segment 4 minutes shorter. I would appreciate it. I'm not here to try and amplify my viewing time, right? In fact, according to the analytics I can see, most of my viewers don't make it to the end of my videos anyway. So finding a way to shorten them down would be appreciated, but I am not going to try to strong arm you or twist your arm or anything. It is, at this point, up to y'all to let me know if it's okay. Moving on though, because next we're going to get into episode 4, Vox Excelso. And I'm sure if any of the people who I've been interacting with on Tumblr are around today watching this one, you probably already understand this is the episode I'm skipping. I need to do a deep dive into this episode. The reason I bring up Tumblr is I have, over the last few days, been extremely vocal about the fact that I'm a Klingon lover. Worf is my favorite character in all of Star Trek. I need to unpack Vox Excelso in a exclusive video about it, where I can dedicate 20 to 30 minutes to diving into what all is there, because boy, is there a lot in that episode to unpack. So I am going to skip over episode 4 today. Please do. I'm sure a lot of you guys were also fans of that, so please do look forward to that video. Not next. The next video is a topic I a little more personal. I feel like I need to dive into as I'm setting course to journey into the Star Trek franchise full send once again. Moving along though, for episode 5, we got series acclamation Mill or Sam. I would like to point out real quick the intro sequence. Like, she full takes over the episode. From introduction to ending, Sam is in control of the episode, and I love it. For various reasons we'll get into in a minute, but a story about me. Story about me. A Sam. It's all about her from beginning to end, while also not being about her. Because what is Sam, right? Sam is an emissary. Not to the prophets, mind you. Damn, I forgot her planet's name already, because you know what? Her creators are some douchebags. And I can already see that they are going to grief her life. I just hope it's not a lot and too consistent. Like, you know what? We had the one full episode establishing Sam's lore. Let's maybe use them for 30 seconds a pop from now on, okay? Because, I mean, unless we are going to reframe her creators out of this douchebag funnel that they've been put into, because by God, dude, I do not like her creators. We've seen enough of them. And how the episode ended, I really hope the writers stick with that. Like, Sam took control. She's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to disobey you. And that's exactly why I'm going to figure out the answers why you want. You want to understand organics? This is the first step. You made me a teenager. What do teenager organics do? They go out and they live their life. They make mistakes and they learn from those mistakes. The first step in me getting you the answer you want is to tell you to... I loved it. Like, dude, Sam. I'm going to get a little more into why Sam is easily my number 3. At this point, it is Caleb, Jaden, Sam. Jaden is like right there, dude. We're talking about like a .01 differential between the 1 and 2 spots for me in this series. But Sam, hands down, number 3 for me. Believe me when I say you will understand why that is in my next video, and perhaps gain a little bit of understanding for why it needed to be my next video. To the rest of episode 6, because while Sam is in control of the episode and it is about her, like I said, it's also not about her. This episode is a screaming, loving, operatic tribute to Deep Space Nine and the legacy of Benjamin Sisko. The Sisko. My captain. I love Deep Space Nine so much, y'all. Like, I was even watching the season 1 episode duet before I started recording this morning. Man, y'all, I was tearing up. The writing in that series is so good, dude. So good. But let's see. I do have a note here. It's an especially longer one, so let me make sure I'm reading this verbatim real quick. The episode embodies the idea of StarFleet and asserts that this show understands the importance of that. And for me, when we're talking about a new show that is seeming to want to try to write new lore for Star Trek, right? And oh man, I think I meant to bring this point up earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and full dive into it now. The importance of remembering where you came from, the legacy that paved the path to get you to the point where you have this opportunity to create a series, add on to the lore, and invite a new generation of fans into the fandom. Maintaining Gene's lore is important, because without that, not only are we not Star Trek anymore, but by definition, the show could have been called anything else and been just as good. If you're not going to pay respects to what Gene Roddenberry himself created in the 60s. And episode 5, series acclamation mill, was, oh my God, these fools stood at the podium, not only with a microphone, but with one of those bullhorns. And they announced to the world, we are going into a new and unknown universe. But by God, we did not forget where we came from and the legends who made it possible for us to be here today. I hope that wasn't too loud in your guys' ears. Honestly, episode 5, I should probably dive into it, but I know enough about the Star Trek community. I am not, I am very much a small channel diving into another massive fandom here. I get that. I fully get that. There are other creators out there already talking about this series. I know. I haven't interacted with their channels yet, mostly because YouTube hasn't thrown them up on my feed yet. But I do know. And it's like I was pointing out to my roommate today, because, you know, we were talking a little bit about the show, right? And I mentioned how I want to announce, I want to be one of those elder Star Trek fans, one of the, not OGs, you know, obviously I wasn't born in the 60s, 90s baby, proud of it. But as an older Star Trek fan, I want to say that while, yes, it is important to maintain Gene's lore, it is important to remember what your identity is as a show. It's also important for us as fans to realize that if Gene was here today, it is safe to assume that a creator like him would understand my franchise is trying to evolve into a new generation. That means I need to allow it to evolve. But in doing so, we cannot shit on the legacy that gave us the opportunity to be here. I had an interesting conversation. I'm going to take a real quick break before I hop into episode 6. I had an interesting conversation, or I guess brief conversation, on my last StarFleet video with one of the commenters that got me thinking about this idea specifically. Because the burn, scientifically, I'm pretty sure that the commenter is right. I'm pretty sure scientifically it doesn't quite math out. That there's I have not watched Discovery yet. I said that in my last video. Honestly, with how good Starfleet Academy is, the fact that they keep referencing it, I'm more and more wanting to give it a try. So one of these days, I am going to dive into it and become firsthand familiar with the burn, right? But because I don't have that firsthand experience, I can't full send my support for the fact that the math doesn't math out here. Maybe it does. I don't know yet. I'm not saying you're wrong. Friend, if you're watching, I want you to know that you are a big part of the reason why I've decided to full dive back into my Star Trek fanaticism. And I appreciate the hell out of you for that. Because I've been out of Star Trek too long. I can't say I'm especially sad I missed out on Strange New Worlds or Prodigy. Lower Decks was pretty funny and a decent attempt at diving into the animated medium, right? But I've been disconnected from Star Trek for too long, and y'all about to see me spiral out of control. I hope you guys enjoy the ride. I genuinely do. I hope you guys enjoy the ride. Last thought before leaving episode 5 is I cried, y'all, when I saw Sirach Lofton, dude. Hey, dude is looking good. Like, hearing him talk about his dad, though, even though it was adult Sirach, I'm sorry, dude. I'm butchering the enunciation. I know I am. Even though it was the adult version, all I heard was Kid Jake. Man, thinking about the final episode of Deep... Ooh, hold on, y'all. Thinking about the final episode of Deep Space Nine, dude, it does something to me. Oh, there are a plethora of reasons I say Deep Space Nine is the best series in all of Star Trek. The writing is hands down one of the biggest reasons. Oh my God, dude. All right, before I fall into the snot nose crying there, thank you, Sirach and Avery Brooks, for coming back for this episode. Seeing and hearing you guys meant so much to me. All right. Oh God, here it comes. I'm glasses free the rest of the episode, y'all. Oh, okay, moving on. Episode 6. Come, let's away. I just want to talk about the one thing everybody wants to talk about in this, right? Let me know what you guys think. Was this moment properly set up throughout the rest of the season and through the beginning of this episode? Or is this a shock value moment to you guys? Because I'll go first. Like I said, this is all I'm going to talk about for this episode. It doesn't matter to me whether it was set up proper or whether it was a shock value moment. It doesn't matter. For me, especially after episode 5, for me, this is Starfleet Academy once again at that podium with that bullhorn, proudly announcing, guys, yes, we are a teen dramedy. Yes, we are trying to get new fans in, but we are Star Trek. We understand that these kids are attending Starfleet Academy and this show is set in space. That is a terrifying and dangerous environment to be in. And Star Trek going where no one has gone before. Bobby, you may have been a prick, man. You may have been a jerk and a bit of a douchebag, dude, but you were a kid. You had your life ahead of you. You had nothing but time to learn from the egotistic mistakes you were making at the War College. They killed a kid, y'all. They killed a kid on screen. Yes, it is a teen dramedy. Yes, it is aimed at a younger audience. But this is Star Trek. These writers understand the assignment. Pay respects to the legends that paved the way for us to be here today while facing that void of unknown ahead of us, saying we will conquer our fear and we are going to venture into that unknown. While my first thumbnail may have called into question whether or not this show understood that it is Star Trek, Episode 5 and 6 firmly and concretely announce that these writers understand. They are writing a Star Trek show. The fact that it is a Star Trek show about the Academy is second. All right, my eyes are finally drying up. I'm gonna put the glasses back on, y'all. I gotta check and make sure I'm not gonna miss a note on my way out here. Oh God, yeah, I was gonna miss a lot. I apologize to Tarima. This is the part, the follow-up to my part about episode 2, right? I apologize. I'm not sure if the Betazoids we know would be able to do this. But I would like to point out, as I said, we are writing new lore. We are going into the unknown, and this is 900 years later. Like, intelligent beings evolve. I mean, come on, dude. The human lifespan is no longer restricted to 100 years. And she's been identified as potentially the strongest Betazoid to ever live. I have no issue at all with the siren scream. And this moment between her and Caleb, like, okay, first off, let me address, I'm not okay with intimate relations in a show aimed at kids. I'm not. They did an okay job evolving that moment to a point where it could be used at the end of the episode to provide character development for Tarima and Caleb. I sincerely hope that any further intimate relation in this show is restricted to command personnel, or the will they, won't they, that should be the limits when it comes to shows about kids aimed at kids. I don't like to get too political though, so I'm not going to go any further into that. Final note on episode 6, Newsbraka. This, as a villain, you know what, I'm going to just go ahead and say it like my note has it. Newsbraka would almost certainly be a fan of Narona Emu. This guy is sadistic and twisted to a point where usually I like my villains to have a bit of an angle to where a well-developed main character might be able to save them from the brink. They might not be able to, but I do usually like to have my villains with that loose thread, I guess, right? Noose Braka doesn't have that thread. This man is, I'm gonna just say, he's a genius. He is a master manipulator. He's out here playing 12D chess on everybody's 3D boards. So like, I don't know, let's see, dude's playing 144 games of 3D chess at the same time. This man is a menace. This man will be a problem. This is no Quark. Not right now, at least, okay? Because while maybe, just maybe, on introduction and initial concept, maybe Braka was supposed to play into the idea of Quark, right? Like the businessman is willing to do anything to, make another bar of gold pressed latinum, right? He is responsible for the death of Bavi. And for me, there is no coming back from killing a kid. You have stolen the future of a promising young cadet. And you know what? I do fully believe in another universe, Bavi, Zolo, and you know what? Not Kyle. Kyle was already there, right? Bavi and Zolo, because of who the Chancellor of the War College is, the more we find out about him, they would have learned from this egocentric period of their lives while they were at the War College. And they had the potential to be something great. I sincerely hope that this is not a character-breaking moment for Kyle. I hope it's a chance for Zolo to grow a bit, right? Perhaps start to look at StarFleet Academy and what it stands for, what it's trying to do differently than she has through the first 6 episodes, right? I hope the death of Bavi doesn't break these two. Whether it was used for shock value or whether you believe it was set up perfectly, this moment can be used to create another Captain First Officer combo out of Zolo and Kyle, because we've already got a few forming. Caleb and Jaden almost certainly going to become Captain First Officer one day. These brothers, through just 6 episodes, man, they've already been through enough together that they call each other brother. That's powerful. That harkens back to Picard and Riker, right? Like, sure, Picard would put Riker in his place every now and then, but Riker knew when it got down to the nitty-gritty, he was allowed to tell Picard how he really felt. And Caleb and Jaden's relationship really harkens back to that, right? And, you know what? I'd like to kind of liken Raimi and Genesis to the same thing, but it's unavoidable that Sam is as attached to Genesis as one could argue that Cadet Raimi is, right? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his first name. It's something ridiculous. I know that, right? I just can't remember it. By the way, he is the, I'm going to try and get the screenshot. He is the reason I know that there is a chance that Bavi was an actual, literal child by human terms. I mean, Raimi himself's only 17. Some of these are actual children in the show. Now, I'm pretty sure all the actors are, 17, 18 plus, whatever. I don't know, man. I'm enjoying the series. I don't know any of these actors from anything else. I'm not that invested in them as actors yet. I kind of want to say that Raimi, Genesis, and Sam embody Kirk, Spock, and Bones. Because hot-headed Kirk, who I'm likening to Raimi, he needed something different from Spock and from Bones, which is kind of where Raimi sits with Genesis and Sam. They're both a bit more emotionally mature, but they both have their own flaws that Raimi can help help them overcome, while they both help him overcome a flaw in himself that only they could potentially help him overcome. So, obviously, I'm sure you guys can kind of allude from that. I am seeing a lot of parallels between the cast of Starfleet Academy and the cast of Deep Space Nine, The Next Generation, and the OG series, which is promising because, like I said, understanding and holding on to your roots is important when you're diving into the new and unknown. And as a fan of older Star Trek, as somebody who has not enjoyed anything Voyager Plus more than the passing, oh, I enjoyed that episode, oh, I enjoyed that short I saw on YouTube, or something like that. I enjoy Starfleet Academy, and I full send recommendation to watch this show. Whether you are a fan of Star Trek lore or not, you will find something in this show to love. I just want to point out again to any fellow older Star Trek fans who are trying to give this show a chance, please try to keep in mind. Now, I'm not a gatekeeper. You are free to choose to enjoy the content however you want, and you're free to interact with my channel and my opinions about this stuff however you want. But I just ask, try to keep in mind that any good creator would understand, okay, my series has been around for half a century. It needs to evolve into a new generation. Changes are going to have to happen. As long as this show doesn't spit in the face of the legends who gave it the chance to be here, we should, as older fans of Star Trek, give this show our support. At least up until that moment. Up until the moment it spits directly in the face of what Gene himself wanted. Which, keep in mind, Gene's idea and vision for Star Trek is an adventure, a journey into the unknown, knowledge seeking. This Star Trek, I'm confident in saying, with Starfleet Academy, Star Trek is announcing to the world that we want to return to our roots. We want to be a show about exploration, science, knowledge, interpersonal relations, interspecies relations, interplanetary relations. I'm sorry, I keep using that word. I'm blanking on synonyms right now, y'all. I am like actually cooking. I am so hot right now, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and end this one off. I got one more to record today. As always, though, friends, I'd love to know what you guys are thinking. How did you feel about the first 6 episodes of Starfleet Academy, and what are you looking forward to in the final 4? Let me know in the comments below. As always, feel free to reach out on X or Tumblr, or join the Discord community. Once again, as I said in my One Piece reaction, that's just for now. I am looking into another platform. I guess since I'm recording all 3 of these at the same time, I should do the quick 30-second bit in all of them. While I understand why Discord is doing it, I do not put my identification information into an app on the internet, so I will never ask my community to do the same thing. That being said, I am looking for a platform that will allow me the security to interact with my community, right? In an open way that anybody at any point can duck into and read over. I'm here to enjoy the content that I love and try to build a community that people can be safe in to enjoy the content they love. You know, whether that's One Piece, whether that's Star Trek or anything else. But phone's telling me that this video's gone on long enough. I hope everybody has a beautiful day, friends. Much love.